Hey guys, it's Paradise, and we're back with more Blue Protocol Star Resonance. This one's going to be an interesting one because we're going to be talking about the end game, the things that really matter when it comes to grinding and getting more powerful. So I've got 2-6 with me here today because there's a bunch of things that we're going to go through and show off. There's a ton of different systems, materials, upgrade methods, and things that add power to you. And a quick note, we're not experts at this. This is a test server. We're max level. We've done the story. We're dabbling in these systems. Things might change in the full release, but there's so much to go through that we just had to talk about this, right, 2-6?
Yeah, we're definitely kind of gamers that spend a lot of our time like grinding the end game rather than just like the normal casual stuff as well. So we're excited when we kind of encounter this system, and the game kind of really comes alive in terms of like that MMO aspect as well. So with us having played a lot of these games and experienced a lot of end game in a lot of other games, we kind of know what to look out for and what we're is going to be exciting to us. So yeah, kind of really excited to dive into some of this stuff and share it with you. Obviously, there's people that have been playing the Chinese version and are deep into it. It takes like thousands of hours to truly understand most endgame systems in general. We're not at that level because we've only got like probably hundreds of hours on it, but like we kind of are looking at some spicy stuff already, right?
Yeah, and it's almost like, where the heck do we start? Because there's layers upon layers of different things in this game. But I'm going to start at what I think is the most basic, and we'll get to more advanced as we go through, and that's hopefully the structure I'm going to aim for here. So to begin with, we have levels, okay? So the level is currently 60 at the max, at least right now in the test server, and I think that will probably get increased over time. The level doesn't actually mean a lot. What it initially means for you is that you will unlock more of your basic abilities, your skills, as you progress through the game. Then, after levels, you have a thing called talents, which is basically your skill tree, where you can get stat boosts, augments to your skills, passive bonuses, class mechanics, and stuff like that. And then once you hit 60, you unlock the second tier of your talent tree, which is basically your spec, which is you have a couple options of your class, which changes the way they sort of fundamentally play in some cases. So for me, it's the Skyward spec. It basically changes me to more aerial, jumpy kind of focus, and you can see it's a massive skill tree in comparison to the first one. And this has a bunch of nodes that you need to unlock stuff on. And then this is the first aspect of the endgame that we're going to talk about, which is the trial path, which is how you effectively gain these trial points you can see here to go further down the skill tree. So let's talk about trial path real quick. If I go over to this menu and we go all the way to our challenge page, you can see trial path here gives us a bunch of different rewards, from the in-game sort of premium currency to our talent points and some badges as well. And I'll actually go here real quick because we'll navigate over there 2-6. So I'm just gonna run over there to show it off, because each of the different things in this game are located in a different area in the world, so the world feels a bit more alive. And you can imagine when there's like thousands and thousands of people playing, it's going to be a bustling town. We've actually already seen it in some cases where it's bustling, and it gets pretty mad, doesn't it, 2-6?
Yeah, definitely.
So this is the trial path. Do you want me to go over this 2-6, or do you want to take over?
So yeah, for the trial pass, you obviously have your ability score, which is a core thing that we're going to talk about in a second, and like the real true end game. But these are like little instances that you basically play through. I'll actually load into one right now, and you'll see you essentially just play through them. There might be like a 1v1 versus a boss. You need to take it down in a certain amount of time. Basically, and you just talk to this good dude. So this is Trial Officer Drew. I'm going to start the trial, and I just need to clap the monster that Drew has summoned. It's pretty cool because it just adds a different bit of variety to the game. You can see here I've completed the task. I cleared it in 7 seconds, and I needed to defeat the monster within 60 and 40 seconds, and I got both of those to complete that activity, which earns me basically a star on the main menu. I'm actually going to leave now, but I can continue to the next stage or return to a different trial or whatever. But I'm going to leave, and then Paradise is going to talk about like what you actually get for rewards of completing all the different trials.
Right, so this is where your path comes into play, which is basically your class's archetype. So you have Strength, which is DPS, Guardian, which is blue, which is for tanks, and then Support, which is green for healers and stuff like that. And the difference here is that depending on the sort of the level of the trial you do, you get a different one of these support seals, which are needed to unlock the bigger nodes on your talent tree, which you would have seen before. So for me, it's Strength. So you can see at the 3rd notch, I gained a Arcane Seal attack, which is very important for your class. On top of that, you can click the little rewards button, and for every 3 levels that you clear, you gain an additional 2 talent points. So I can claim these 2 right here, and we can go back, and you can see in my actual talent tree, I can now unlock a couple extra goodies. So what have we got here? Let's see. You can see I can actually gain this Wind Fury, this bigger node that uses the Arcane Seal, and then we can go down, we can get some Wind Element attack, and that's the ones that I've just gained and used. So you really want to grind that out to get further down in the talent tree. That's one aspect of progression, right, 26?
Yeah. And if you want to see what the difference is between the specs that you have, you can actually go to the guide section, and then you can scroll down on the the second notch down, and you can see like my first spec is the slash spec, and it tells me what skills are being enhanced and like what I'm actually what the overall thing is for that and what I should be aiming for. And what it even imagines that I should be going for, which is another thing that we're going to talk about. And then you've got the Bone Strikes spec, which is completely different and focuses on Thundercart and the Scythe Wheel ability on my class. So you've got these branching trees, one that gets completely closed off once you basically choose it. But I think you can actually respec it if you want, if you return all your talent points and go again. So I don't think you're actually fully locked into it if you feel like you made a bad choice on the spec that you've gone down to, but once you've committed, you're probably going to commit anyway.
Right, so that's one aspect. So now I want to go back to skills, okay? So we said you unlock skills as you level up, but if we go to our skills page, skills have 2 different types of progression, and 2 you'll be able to show this. So the first type is just a straight up upgrade, which uses in-game currency, which is just like the money in-game that you get by doing pretty much everything. So you can show the level up of your power, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to level it up now. You can see my main skill, which is Judgment Cut, is maxed out, so I can't max it out anymore. But if I go to my Raijin dash, I can max that out basically by using some in-game currency, which is quite easy to get. You get that quite a lot. And then you can also advance it using books as well, which I don't currently have, but you get these from boxes, and they add additional damage on the skill advancement, which is quite a lot, because it's 400 to % damage increase and the skill cooldown and stuff like that. So
the books are the advances are a big upgrade for your skills, and you essentially get them from daily and weekly activities and things like that. So that is a progression over time thing that you'll get as you play the game and do various activities out in the world and all of that. But on top of your actual player character class abilities, you also have Battle Imagines, which are a whole nother ability that your character actually gets. So there's a whole system over here for this. Should we go over to the guide, 26?
Yeah.
So this character over here, down this little tunnel, is our favorite guy, Mason. He's the director of the Research Institute for Imagines, and you can see here, we go here, you can go to Imagine Craft, and these are all the different things that you have, different rarities. The yellowy ones are the sort of true endgame higher tier rare ones. But these are all monsters out in the world that you actually fight. In some cases, they're elites or world bosses. In some cases, they're story characters. And if you actually fight them, you might get lucky and get a drop, or you can craft these if you get unlucky and get crafting materials over and over again. And then you need additional materials and some money to craft it together into the actual battle image, which effectively, as you can see here, summons the monster to do something that's unique to that monster. So it might be a big hit with a club, it might be a magic spell, it might be a huge AoE, it might be there's a ton of things it can be. And these also have passive effects on them. This one gives block, this one gives expertise skill damage, this one gives intelligence. So these are another layer to your build, both for their passive effect and their active ability that you can do in combat. And to get these, you want to go out into the world, you want to do you see here, you have the monster hunts, you want to do pretty much the different tiers of monster hunts here. These are the boss tier is the world boss tier, which gives the good ones, but it's a very rare drop, and you will have to be doing these a lot over time. But they're super worth it, because some of them get really powerful later on, right?
No, definitely. I'm just in the guild center at the moment. I'm going to actually show one off so you guys can actually see them. But if I go over here, we've got the training dummies, and you can see on my X ability, I've got, I think, an ogre assigned, and he's going to come out, he's going to do his little thing. I get a bit of healing, he does a bit of damage, it's pretty cool. Then he goes on a 1-minute cooldown. I can also make him stronger, but then also on the other side of that, I've got a dude that summons and just drops a bomb as well, which is really, really, really cool that you have the different ones. These are just more of the basic boy ones. As you get more into the game, you'll unlock ones that are characters from the actual main story, like Tina and stuff. So yeah.
So then there's another so we've talked about a few things, 2-6 now. We haven't even got to gear yet, okay? Because gear is a huge one, and gear is going to be pretty grindy as well. So if I go to my equipment, you can see here you have all these different gear slots. You have your weapon, your helmet, your armor, your arms, your gloves, accessories, and so on. And you can see even me right now, I have one level 80 piece and a level 80 weapon. Then I got level 40 armor, level 10 arms and stuff like that. So these make a huge difference to your character's power. And what you want to be doing to get them is the weekly chaotic realms. Now it says it's under the weeklies tab, but it seems like you can do these like back to back to just get gear drops, and there's different difficulties that scale up with them that give higher rarities of loot. So you can see here with the Goblin Nest, this is a pretty basic tier one. You have a chance to get the Shadow Hunter, which I think is like a skin, and then you also have random weapon rewards, random gauntlet rewards, random earring rewards, as well as some of these reforging stones that we'll talk about in just a second. And the different chaotic realms, as you can see, this one has helmets, this one has necklaces. They have different types of gear that they can drop. So you want to be running these dungeons, taking down the bosses, rolling randomly to get those gear pieces until you get something both for your class and appropriate to your level, ideally a higher rarity. And then we have all of the enhancement stuff too. So I'm like the enhancement guy right now, so I'll just run through some of the stuff real quick. So you see, let's open up the menu. So first of all, we have the perfection system, and this is a really interesting system, because gear that you get has a chance to have a different perfection cap. So some gear might be like this, where it caps out at 30, and some gear, this padlock, might be way near the higher end, and it might be like 80 or 90 or something like that, or 70. And this effectively lets you use resources. I don't actually have enough to do my weapon. Do I have enough to do anything else? Let's take a look. I think everything at a higher level costs more rare resources. So here's my armor, which is only level 40. So you probably wouldn't want to upgrade this piece because I'm already a higher level than it, but we'll go through the process because I have a lot of these materials. So we're 10 out of 80 right now. We can reforge it. You can see it levels it up. So now it's 22. It actually, each reforge can re-roll the additional stats. So I got crit, which is really good for my class, has the little thumbs up. But this will change as you reforge it until you hit max level, and then reforging will just re-roll the stat to get the stat that you want. But this effectively increases all of the power of that armor piece. The armor goes up, the strength, the stamina goes up. So this is one way to enhance the gear and make it stronger. But the fact that they drop with different perfection levels means you need to get a gear for your class with the stats you want, with the rarity that's high, with a high perfection level. So there's a lot of RNG.
Yeah, with good stats as well. So I've kind of got a good example here where obviously it's not for my class, this healer weapon, but you can see here my main weapon is a level 40 weapon, but the perfection level is only 30 out of 30, meaning that I can't get the increased stats on it. But like if I had this one, which has like 80 out of a max points, I can reforge that and increase the levels basically by using materials. So I can just continue to do that. You can see the perfection levels increased, and I can do that a lot more times than I can do on the other weapon, which is very interesting.
Yeah, the important thing to note is that some of these materials you'll get a lot of as you play, but when you get the higher tier gear, like the level 80 gear, you can see this is actually a different material, which you can refine the previous materials up into at like a decaying rate. So high level gear is even more like difficult to actually upgrade. But then on top of that 2.6, we've also got the refining system, which is a whole nother layer on top of perfecting, because refining gives you more armor and stamina on your gear at different like level thresholds, and has a success rate chance, but nothing ever breaks in this game. That's something I hate in other games when they do these percentage upgrade chances, and if you like fail a 90%, it like breaks the gear and it's gone forever. That doesn't happen. Have you ever played a game like that? They're dreadful.
No, was Lost Ark like that?
I think I can't remember exactly, but I think it demoted the level. But if anyone remembers Fiesta back in the day, Fiesta used to have that horrible system. You'd get a really good gear piece and it would break and then you'd cry, basically. But refining. So you can see here, it needs a bunch of materials, Starforge crystals, mystery metal, and of course, Luno, which is just the basic currency that you get a lot of. I think you can use these blessing materials to guarantee success rate, which is only really good at the extremely high levels when the success rate's low and you're going to lose the materials otherwise.
Yeah, I think at the minimum it goes down to is 65%, so you still got basically over 50% a chance, which is a good chance to get it to go up, even at the maximum like final level. But that's right now. As the game increases, that percentage will go down even more. I'll actually just do one now so you guys can see it on like the weapon. And it says like success rate is 80%. If it fails, blah 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 blah.
So,
and it will increase by
just
2%
while you were
so I
saying
can
that,
do it.
26, I just failed a 97%.
Oh,
So
that's on you. That's on you.
It can happen. The interesting thing
Cool.
with this system, though, is that once you refine it to a certain level, which I'll just crank it out to. So you can see here, now that it's level 10, going higher than 10 has actually changed the materials. Now we need Mystery Metal and Starforge Crystal level 2, which I have a lot less of. So as you get higher and higher, again, those materials become different materials that are harder to get. So that's perfecting, which is called reforging, refining to gain additional armor and stamina, and then you also have embedding on top of that. This is where life skills come into play, because you can craft your way up through, I think it's gemology, to create gems that you can slot into your gear. I actually don't have any of these right now, but your different gear pieces can have a gem slotted in, which will give you additional stat bonuses on top of that. And you can dismantle your old gear to get some like Lumino back, which, in my opinion, you need the space for your inventory, but 15 to 30 Lumino is like basically nothing. But that's the basics of how gear work and upgrading. So on top of this, there's another layer, which is, I think, honor coins, which I think this guy over here has the gear exchange. So if I press K, we can actually pull up our daily and weekly tasks. You can see this task will give us honor coins. This task will give us honor coins. A bunch of the daily and the weekly things, you can see the battle images like we talked about before, even some star chests that give you more of these resources that we've talked about, the skill enhancing ones, the talent tree enhancing ones. Doing all of these different tasks ultimately give you resources to buy gear or enhance gear in some way. So this is the level 80 exchange. And you can see here, we can use materials that you get from doing all of those things I've just clicked to buy gear straight up, to convert and all of that stuff. And I think we've got the lower tier ones at level 40. You can see like these are the lower tier alloy shards that you get by doing all those same things. So by doing stuff, you get materials that you can use to buy gear straight up rather than randomly rolling in dungeons. But I think the dungeon ones are ultimately going to be higher rarity and can come at a higher level. So this is kind of to get you started and going. Then you want to go out and actually farm the RNG side to get what you want. All right, so the honor coins that I just mentioned, if you go into the actual store, you go to the mystery store, the colorful store, sorry, and then you go over to the honor coin tab, there is a whole range of goodies that you can see here that you can buy, and this stuff's pretty important with what you want. You can see you've got the seals that you need for your talent tree, so you want to be maxing that out every week. There's a weekly limit on these, so you want to do those weekly activities so you can buy all of these things. You can get the advanced books here that you want to use to upgrade your abilities. Really big, considering it gives you massive percentage damage increases. You can get some Luno if you're like running low. You've got the alloy shards, the high density, and the sovereign shards. These were all the stuff I just showed trading at that guy in order to get the like level 80, 60, 40 gear. You've got the Starforge crystals for refining, the reforging crystals for reforging. You can even straight up buy modules from here, which we should actually talk about modules because that's a whole another layer on top of things. So modules, if I find the menu for them in our character menu, so you go to your profile, and right at the top here, you've got a little modules menu. A lot of menus, a lot of things to go through. You can see why we wanted to talk about it because there's so much stuff. So if we click on our modules, right now I have 4 slots. I don't know if this increases. I'm assuming that this is what you get because we are maxed out on level at the moment. But you slot in basically these modules that are kind of like another gear piece, but they have different levels and rarities of stats on them. This one has different stats and they all add together to power you up, but some will be relevant for your class and some won't. I've just slapped on the 4 that I have right now. Not all of these are super relevant for me.
They have a really good system whereby, like, if you click on the bottom, it's got recommended, so you click on that and it'll actually just show you the thumbs up, and you can like just filter by the ones that are going to be relevant for your class. So you can click auto select, it'll select those ones. Like my one's got agility boost, special attack, elite strike, crit focus, damage, stack, agile, and life wave. Obviously these are different stats that will enhance the capabilities of the class. I don't know if these are like the min-max ones or just the ones that developers have like suggested at a basic one. As the meta develops and we know more in the English or the global server, we'll know exactly what those ones that you properly want to aim for are. But this is a good starting point if you're just lost on all the menus and the source of the endgame, basically.
Yeah, we really wanted to talk about these things, like you say, because we hit the end game and there's just so many things. How do you gain power? Like, you've just hit max level, but it doesn't really mean much in terms of your gear score. Whereas all of these systems that we've just shown are what contribute to that gear score, which is what lets you do higher tier activities and harder stuff in the game. All right, so this all ties into the ability score like we mentioned earlier. So if we actually go to our profile, you can see right here we have an ability score number, and this is super important when it comes to your character's power level. If we click it, you can see all of these different things that contribute to it. Our talents are giving us 459. Our skill trading is giving 2,297. Our gear is giving 3,700. So all of these things together add into what makes your character actually powerful. If you think of Destiny, it's like your light level. It's like your ability score is the thing that matters and dictates how strong you are and what activities you can actually do. So all of those things we mentioned are what adds in to making your character stronger through that ability score. So they're the kind of things that you're going to be chasing at endgame unless any of it changes. So we just wanted to run you guys through, because this is the stuff that we're grinding and farming out now, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of really like it. I know it sounds a bit daunting because there's like 50 things to level up, but like in an MMO, you want things to chase. And a lot of the times, like there isn't enough to the end game systems, but this has got like system stacked on system, so there's always going to be something to chase. And as long as it lines up where like you can still do activities if you don't have like everything perfectly min-maxed, then I'm okay with it, because you're going to constantly be feeling like more powerful and be like, oh no, actually I've got all my gear leveled up and it refined, but I can actually do better at like grabbing some modules or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's a lot of systems and things to learn and get used to and a lot of stuff to farm. On the other hand, there's always something to do in this game to improve, which is quite nice. Yeah. So whether it's hunting bosses, doing dungeons, refining your gear, farming materials, doing life skills to get like the gems and stuff, there's like always something to do that is going to progress you. So it seems like if like there's a lot of meat to sink your teeth into. And so we just wanted to give you guys the rundown on all of that stuff. I think that's all the systems that we've spotted, right?
Yep.
So guys, we'll have more Blue Protocol Star Resonance coming your way soon. We're really enjoying the game, so we're going to be checking all the stuff out. So make sure to subscribe below so you keep up to date, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Here at Arekkz Gaming, we're two friends who love to play games. You have me, Paradise, as well as 26.
Our goal is to keep the videos as concise as possible by cutting out any of the fluff and focusing on what really matters with high quality videos.
So make sure you're subscribed down below for more videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon.